Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos Beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week we're going to camp. That's right. We're going to be going to Turtle Camp at Boca de Tomates. We're going to meet an incredible lady. This lady saves giant sea turtles. Her name is Nan Lippard. But before we meet Nan, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta, the 10th of February, 2019. Uber wars continue here in Puerto Vallarta. Last week I reported that the Jalisco Governor Enrique Alfaro was going to revoke the permit for Ubers. And this week, on Tuesday, January the 5th, local agents and police began pulling over Ubers at checkpoints around the city, ticketed the drivers, and towed away their vehicles. And that's exactly what he had promised when he addressed the taxi drivers union the week before. So, hey, no big surprise, right? Well, it was. It was a big surprise. Uber drivers were pretty scared. They didn't want to go out. And as a result, the higher prices kicked in for the Uber ride. And people were ticked. They were mad. And, of course, what happened after that? Well, the Uber drivers demonstrated the following day. On Wednesday, they blockaded. They staged a blockade. They blocked some major roads in town and caused some pretty big headaches, causing people to miss their flights. People were not really happy, I gotta say. It was a big mess. Anyway, Thursday, things calmed down, and they were supposedly going to powwow and see if things could be worked out, but I don't know what can possibly be worked out when the governor actually says that we are going to shut down the platform. We'll see, but as of today, and actually through the entire process, the platform never shut down. They were always rolling. They were always coming along. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on the situation, see what happens. And speaking of situations, there is still a propane gas shortage, actually, in Puerto Vallarta. It's not as pronounced as it was about a month ago, I would say, maybe a month and a half ago. But the deliveries are slow, and there are people that are having to line up once again to get their propane tanks filled, out in Ixtapa and Costco and, wherever else they're filling up propane. So beware. And gasoline is still available in Puerto Vallarta, as far as I know, although they are having shortages around Jalisco and, of course, central Mexico and other parts of Mexico. There are huge issues with gasoline and gas pipelines being tapped and gas being sold on the black market. Very interesting. Maybe next week we'll talk a little bit about that situation. Hey, but let's get back to Puerto Vallarta, shall we? Yeah, let's. Okay, so Corazon de Niña has 2 humanitarian brunches a week now during high season in order to accommodate all you folks out there. And you got to go out there, see the wonderful work that they do. Let me read from the Facebook page. Every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 a.m. Please be on time. Come and see how far we've come. Thanks to your love and support, we've come a long way. Donation, 250 pesos, which is what? What is that? About 12, 13 bucks. Includes breakfast and a tour. And go and see what they're doing at our favorite orphanage, Corazon de Niña. So, check it out. Make sure you get out there. And like I said, they're there twice a week. Remember that the art walk is happening every Wednesday from 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock in the evening until May. There is the art walk downtown. Let me read from Banderas News. Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Over the years, Puerto Vallarta has become a very important art center with more galleries than any other Mexican coastal destination. An important contribution to Puerto Vallarta's art scene is the Centro Histórico Art Walk, which this season is celebrating its 23rd year of spotlighting the downtown area's many fine galleries. The 2018-2019 Vallarta Art Walk season kicked off October 31st, 2018, and it's set to be held every Wednesday from 6 until 10 p.m. through May 29th, 2019, at 12 participating galleries in the city's historic center, featuring art in all mediums, paintings, sculptures, fine ceramics, and jewelry. The purpose of the art walk is to provide a pleasant atmosphere for art collectors, art patrons, local residents, and interested visitors to discover the great variety and exceptional quality of art available here. So don't miss the art walk. I have a link, you guys, to the event in the show notes. Goes till May, so have some fun, take a walk. As if you don't get enough walking when you come to Puerto Vallarta, right? Anyway, check it out. I love going there. I love going from place to place. It's a nice opportunity to meet some of these artists. They are looking forward to having you walk in, so don't be afraid. Stop by. Now, last year about this time, I took you to El Tuito, and I introduced you to a couple of guys, Maddie and Jesse. They run a bed and breakfast called La Jolla del Tuito. And as you'll remember, if you don't remember, go and check it out. That was the episode that we talked to Maria Santander too over at Galleria Capalia. And Maddie and Jesse have a new thing going on here. They actually are working on a new location, which is smack dab in the middle of El Tuito. And I just had to go out there and check it out. So I hopped on the bus over at Carranza and Aguacate in the south side of Puerto Vallarta in the Emiliano Zapata neighborhood, right up the street there from our friends at Cisneros, Mariscos Cisneros, and took a ride out to El Tuito, an hour's ride from Puerto Vallarta. So let's go right now. Let's go and see Maddie and Jesse, and let's see what they're doing over at La Jolla del Tuito. I am with Jesse and Maddie. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming on the show again.
Absolutely. We're happy to be back.
So we are at a new place. This is in town. Tell us about it.
It is. We have a new place that's located right off the plaza in El Tuito. It's going to remain the same name. It'll be La Jolla de Tuito on the plaza. We're excited to be closer into town. The last place was wonderful and beautiful, but it was a little bit of a walk for any of our guests that wanted to walk into town if they came up on the bus and didn't want to spend the money on a taxi. The old location is very walkable, but this one's a little bit more convenient for our customers and guests to be able to see the town more times of the day without missing out the different times. Since we're on the plaza now, you get to see the town morning, day, and night. and not have to worry about multiple taxis or anything like that.
Yeah. Because taxis, even though they're dirt cheap around here, they add up after a little while.
They do. And if you want to go in the morning to see the morning things, then the afternoon, and then back at night, you're looking back and forth.
Yeah.
It can add up.
Yeah, it can. All right. So tell us about this place. Can you just describe the place for us?
Yeah. It's kind of a hacienda-style setup. We're located right behind the main plaza, just one street behind. It's got a wonderful gated area, 3 bedrooms. All of the bedrooms have giant windows that open up to the street view. Great airflow through to the front doors of each room. So in the afternoon or morning, you get a wonderful cross breeze. Behind us, we have a garden that we're installing. We've done a lot of work already, but Barry, as you know, we never stop with the gardening. We'll keep going and going and going. And then the backyard opens up to a beautiful field and then a mountain view. So we have wonderful sunsets back there every day. We have three separate rooms. We have 1 bedroom with an attached bath with 2 beds. And then we have 2 other rooms that are conjoined by a Jack and Jill style bathroom. So we are advertising that as a 2-bedroom suite option. That'll be the main advertising of it. However, if you're a single traveler and we don't have booking, we can arrange it as a 1-room. So it's easier for you. We have like an indoor-outdoor kitchen, which is awesome, and a shared dining room for everybody. And a few hammocks are going up, and it's awesome.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And you just, I guess there was a big carnival here recently, and it looks like you got your own Ferris wheel in your backyard, too.
That's the last of the carnival.
That's it? Yeah, they haven't...
Festival de Guadalupe was just here, so we got to celebrate with all those folks.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. And so, they haven't got the big truck over here to haul that way yet.
Yeah, that's the last of the carnival to go. That was an experience. Luckily, we had some wonderful guests during the time of the festival who really enjoyed, you walk out your room at the place you're staying, and there's a Ferris wheel and a carnival. And
right, and the whole freaking town is there, right?
Yeah, the whole town's there. And luckily, that's once a year, and we know when that's coming, so we get to market.
You know what,
that.
you guys? This is a great marketing opportunity. This festival is a wild time here. I mean, there is raicilla drinking going on, right? There are
banda, dancing, everything.
The explosions overhead with the we call them like the Jesus bombs or something like that.
Yes, exactly. Guadalupe bombs.
Yeah.
And all the vendors. I mean, our entire main street shuts down for 8 or 9 days, and all these pop-up shops come up, and all these mariachi and banda,
and that's all night, right? I mean,
it's all at nighttime. It's not really during the day. We have so many people that ask us. They're like, "Hey, I was planning on spending time at the gardens, the Vallarta Gardens during the day, but maybe I'll cut it short so I don't miss any of the festival before check-in." And I was like, "No. Take your time at the gardens. Come check in at 5:30, whenever you want to, and then go to the festival at 7:30 because it doesn't start until then. You're not going to miss it."
No, you're not going to. In fact, after a little while, you might want to wish that you did. So, So, just if you're not into sleeping too much and you maybe want to sleep during the day, then this is the great thing to do, man. You come down here during that festival and just party with the locals, and then sleep during the day just like they do too. So, God, what a great. I'm telling you, I'm marketing it for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Come on down, bring them down.
It's a great way to go. Just you get to sleep in and enjoy yourself.
All right, so that's not every day, you guys. That's just for like 9 days out of the year.
9 days in January.
Yeah. All right, so what was this place? This is a beautiful place. How did you get it, and what was it?
Luckily, one day I was dropping a guest off so she could catch the bus, and a friend of ours who has a eco-friendly lodge down the road, she said, "That house that you always talk about that you love is up for rent." I said, "You got to be kidding me." So came over, looked at it, and I called him after seeing it. I said, "You got to get up, got to get ready. We're putting a deposit down on the place." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Coming to get you now, you'll see." Came, showed him, and about 15 minutes after that, we were putting a deposit and making plans to have our location relocate here. So
it was really just it was all chance timing, and it just worked out really quick and really well.
All right, so You're giving up the other location then, and you're bringing the whole operation down here.
Exactly.
Okay.
In April, we'll be closing the other location. We're going to run both locations through the rest of the season.
Okay, good.
So both locations are still available. Don't worry. And then in April, we're going to close down at the other location. As we mentioned in our last podcast, the other location is owned by his family, his cousin, and her and her husband are fortunate enough to be retiring this year, and that'll be their private residence. So they are going to enjoy retirement here in El Tuito. And then we're just taking our business and just relocating it in the plaza instead of right outside of town. So
it's what a great idea. And
Yeah.
you're closer to all of the restaurants. You
Yeah.
probably don't even have to do any of the cooking anymore, right? You're doing the breakfast now.
Yes,
Are you
exactly.
sending them off and saying, "You're in town, dude. Go for it." Right?
Exactly. And
Right.
we're branching away from the bed and breakfast name. And a large reason for that is, we would have the breakfast prepared, and then people would say, I want to go experience the local food.
Right.
So we would lose a lot of money because we'd have all this stuff, and then they were like, no. So to reduce waste and stuff, we started getting smaller and smaller breakfasts, and people were fine with that. So here, but we're still going to be, if you don't feel like going anywhere, we'll have some like sweet breads and things like that on hand, cereals, very low key, some fresh fruit. But we're not calling ourselves a bed and breakfast. We're going to be like a guest house or a hotelcito or something like that. Because we are just literally like a 1-minute walk to every good restaurant in town.
You are. I just look outside, and you got Patio De Mario right across from you. You got
across the street.
Manchis. You got
Yes.
And that's the new joke here, being so close to Machi's. It's 100 steps to Machi's and 200 home. So it's a great
After
location.
dinner and drinks
really.
at Machi's, it is always an extra couple hundred steps out.
Yeah. I saw that you got your own personal plaque there in front of Manchis too. I saw that, man. You are well known. You're going to move into there too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The previous occupants for the home was the former presidente of Cabo Corrientes. So his family lived here for a while, and then they moved to Vallarta, and they'd come up here on the weekends, and now they're relocating, I believe. So it became available, and that's why we're here. So.
Wow.
So it's got a little bit of history to it.
Sure.
And,
You got the president of Cabo Corrientes here. Right? Come on.
I could think of worse places to live,
Exactly. All right, so you've got this front portion here, and then you have what looks like a little section in the back. That's a place. That's your casita.
Exactly.
Okay.
So separated by a small courtyard area. We have an office with an upstairs casita loft. So we'll have our own space, but still be on site to help guests. And it just helps. So we have our own space, but they have their own space. So they get to feel like they have the place to themselves, but we're right there if anything is needed on site, which is very helpful. At the other place, we also had our own space, but it was kind of a bigger yard area, and we were usually in the garden and all that stuff. So it's just nice that we have a place to go, and if I'm in my office, I'm not sitting in the living room of everybody else's space like at the other place doing my paperwork. I can get out of their hair, and they can enjoy and relax.
Right. They can think that this is their place.
Exactly.
And it really is homey. There's hammocks hanging here. There is this beautiful patio. I'm going to have pictures in the show notes for this episode, so just take a look at it. It's really, really cool. And the idea that you can stay here in a really great place in town, right? Because there really isn't there's a couple little hotels, but there's nothing like this here in El Tuito.
Right. It's very unique to the area. And that's one great feedback that I've loved over the last 3 years of us being here. We've had 3 really great seasons at our original location. And one of the biggest feedbacks that I've got from a lot of the townspeople and locals and other business owners is we really love what you guys have done, because before you were here, there was just nowhere to stay. So people would have to make the hour drive from Vallarta and an hour drive back because there was nowhere for them to stay that was comfortable. I mean, there's a few places, but it wasn't really to their taste, or they didn't know about them. So in the last 3 years, we've really been able to bring a lot of people that stay overnight and get to actually enjoy Tuito and Cabo Corrientes area to the fullest instead of just making a quick day trip. So that's been very rewarding for us to hear from a lot of people that we've helped boosting tourism just by, I mean, people were already going to go see those things, but now they don't have to rush and they can stay a few days and really enjoy it.
Excellent. Yeah, and a great dropping, I should say, a great little spot to go off to other places, to branch off and go to all the really cool places that are around here, which we are all discovering together. So that's very neat.
Exactly.
All right. Did I forget anything? Is there anything that do you know how old this house is?
We're unsure.
We're unsure, actually.
It's adobe, right?
It's an adobe house, which is really nice because it holds hot and cold very well.
Yeah,
So.
It's unique. Well, maybe not unique for here. It's unique for us,
It's unique for us.
Yeah.
North of the border. Wow. All right. So, I want to thank you guys both for coming on the show again.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.
And just make sure you come on down here to, La Jolla de Tuito without the bed and breakfast part.
Yeah.
All right.
La Jolla de Tuito on La
with
Plaza.
the bed, not the breakfast.
Yeah. We'll give you the bed. We're keeping the breakfast.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. I have pictures, like I said, and I have a map that'll take you right to the front door of their new place right in town. I'm very excited for them. It's pretty cool. If you want to stay in town, you're right around the corner from some great places. After I left there, I went to El Patio De Mario, which, like I said, it's like right around the corner. I had a really great lunch there. I interviewed Mario, and I'm going to bring you that interview later because I have a couple new places popping up that I need to bring to you in the El Tuito area and in Mito. And these are kind of eco lodge, kind of camping things. I think that'll be really, really interesting. I'm very excited about all the cool things that are happening in El Tuito and down south. So anyway, Mario, he was great. He has a great voice. And so I'm looking forward to bringing you him. But if you happen to be in El Tuito and you would like to have a place to eat, don't forget to go to Patio De Mario. It's right there, right in the main square. So on this particular day, I needed to get back into town. I was going to go interview Nan at Turtle Camp over in Boca de Tomates. And of course, I was all the way in El Tuito. It was about 3 p.m, and I had to get my rump to the other side of town, right? I mean, I'd go all the way to, Boca de Tomates, which is right next to the airport. So anyway, my friend Rabina, you know her because we talked to her. She has the bathing suit place, La Serena Reina. And Rabina asked me if I had interviewed Nan over at Turtle Camp. And I said, not yet. And she said, why not? And I said, I don't know. Why don't you introduce me to her? And so she did. She was kind enough to introduce me to Nan Lippard. And what a treat, you guys. I mean, what a complete surprise. I didn't really know what to expect. I'd seen a lot of pictures of people, posting on Facebook with the little turtles, wishing them well, waving goodbye to them as they, waddled into the surf. But I really had never considered checking out this place. I knew where it was. I knew it was right next to the airport. So I thought, why not? I'm going to go check out these sea turtles. So I thought I would look up something about these particular sea turtles. These are the olive Ridley sea turtles. And from National Geographic, let us read, the olive Ridley turtle is named for the generally greenish color of its skin and shell. It's closely related to the Kemp Ridleys, with the primary distinction being that the olive Ridleys are found only in warmer waters, including the southern Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. The olive and Kemp Ridleys are the smallest of the sea turtles. They weigh up to 100 pounds and reach only about 2 feet in shell length. The olive Ridley has a slightly smaller head, smaller shell than the Kemps. These turtles are solitary, preferring the open ocean. They migrate hundreds or even thousands of miles every year, and come together as a group only once a year when the females return to the beaches where they are hatched, and they lumber on shore, sometimes in the thousands, to nest. Olive Ridleys have nesting sites all over the world, on tropical and subtropical beaches. During nesting, they use the wind and the tide to help them reach the beach. Females lay about 100 eggs, but may nest up to 3 times a year. The nesting season is from June to December. The olive ridley is mostly carnivorous. It feeds on such creatures as jellyfish, snails, crabs, and shrimp, and they will occasionally eat algae and seaweed as well. Hatchlings, most of which perish before reaching the ocean, are preyed upon by crabs, raccoons, pigs, snakes, and birds, among others. Adults are often taken by sharks. Though the olive ridley is widely considered the most abundant of the marine turtles, by all estimates it is in trouble. Its numbers, particularly in the western Atlantic, have declined precipitously. Many governments have protections for olive ridleys, but still, eggs are taken and nesting females are slaughtered for their meat and skin. Fishing nets also take a large toll, frequently snagging and drowning these turtles. So, very interesting, right? Anyway, let's get to Turtle Camp. Now, you can get to Turtle Camp a couple of different ways, and I have maps in the show notes, and you can go to their Facebook page, and I suggest that you do, and I'll have a link to the Facebook page as well, Saving Turtles in Puerto Vallarta. Anyway, I chose a cab to get down there. I was late because, as I was saying, I was coming down from El Tuito, and I had gotten off the bus over in the romantic zone, and I walked over to a cab. I asked him if he could take me to Boca de Tomates, and he asked me if I wanted to go to the estuary or if I wanted to go to the turtles, and I said the turtles, and he nodded, and we drove off. I was running late, as I normally do, but I trusted that the taxi driver would get me there on time. He got a little lost because they had a couple of detours, but no worries. He got me there. He took me on the road, which is a gravel road, travels along the north side. This one travels along the north side of the Puerto Vallarta Airport, and he dropped me off at the beach where there were a bunch of restaurants. And we've been to these restaurants before, with not on the show, but with a couple of my guests. They've talked about grilling these whole fish on the beach and just eating right there next to the airport. And there are 2 roads that you can take down to where Turtle Camp is. One road is on one side of the airport, and one road is on the other side of the airport. Anyway, I have maps, and you can check it out. Either way, you're gonna be either taking a cab, or you're gonna have somebody who knows how to drive down there, or you'll take an Uber, like I did too. I took an Uber back. I took a cab there. Anyway, I didn't really know I knew kind of where this place was, so I walked out onto the beach and walked past a couple of these restaurants and walked south towards the fence where the airport runway is. And that's actually, that whole area there is where the estuary is, where the crocodiles hang out. And so, anyway, it was interesting being down there and, watching the planes take off over your head. So I walked about 100 yards down south, as I said, and that's where I found Turtle Camp. And it was really nothing like I had expected. There was a big tent there, a medium-sized tent. I wouldn't say big. There were tubs where there were some baby turtle eggs waiting to hatch. There was another place that looked, it was kind of mapped out, a little flat area there, almost looked like a graveyard. They had turtle eggs that were buried in there, incubating, and they had dates that were marked on top. Anyhow, I met Nan, and I asked if we could talk for just a couple of minutes before the group arrived, and she agreed. She spent a little time checking around, made sure that everything would be all ready for the visitors. She showed me, she actually dug around while I was there and pulled out a couple of new babies that had just hatched, which was pretty cool, and added them to the group of, I don't know, there were like 70 some of them, 74, I think, or 70. Anyway, a bunch of these cute little sea turtles. And anyway, we sat down and we talked. So let's go right now to where the runway meets the sea in Puerto Vallarta, and let's meet a most amazing lady, Nan Lippard, who spends a great deal of her time saving sea turtles in Puerto Vallarta. Let's go right now to Campamento Tortuguero Boca de Tomates, and you will know it as Turtle Camp Puerto Vallarta. Nan.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me to Turtle Camp today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming.
You're going to tell us a little bit about what's going on here when you get the group together, so I'll record that. But let's talk a little bit about you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Where are you from, and what was your path that led you here to Puerto Vallarta?
The path that led me to Puerto Vallarta was a varied one at that. I was born in North Carolina, raised in Southern California, about 15 years in Southern Oregon, 2 years in Arizona, and then I had nothing left to lose, and I came to Puerto Vallarta.
Wow. Okay. Nothing left to lose. Is that what happens when you come to Mexico? You got nothing left to lose?
I think so. I decided I'd rather starve on a beach in Mexico than do it in the United States.
Right on. All right. Woman after my own heart.
Yeah.
So when you arrived here, what did you do?
First arrived here, the intention was to go to work and sell timeshare.
Uh-huh.
And we were hired by a timeshare company and went through the training there. And it was clear very early on that was not my path or position.
Good. All right. So what did you do instead?
Walking down the beach, I was a little despondent, not knowing what I was going to do next. And I was coming actually down this very beach here at Boca de Tomates and met Antonio, who has been our turtle camp manager now. He's been here 10 years. And he asked me if I would help him and name and wish for a baby sea turtle, and he was releasing them. We had a storm that wiped out the camp about 2 weeks later, and I let him know I would help him, do anything I could do to help him. So that started the Facebook page and Saving Sea Turtles in Puerto Vallarta. Then I knew I had to stay. I became an English teacher, so I teach middle school English during the day and come out here and do what I can do to help Antonio at night.
Excellent. So your Spanish must be really good.
My Spanish, I speak none.
Oh, well, how do you do that? How are you teaching English and not knowing any Spanish?
The children here are actually incredibly brilliant. They are taught bilingually from the time they are in kindergarten. So half of their day is spent in Spanish and the other half of their day is spent in English. Even starting at kindergarten. So by the time I get them in secondary, they're already reading American literature books.
Really?
And fulfilling their dreams of becoming international citizens. It's an incredible opportunity here. The kids are wonderful.
Is it a private school?
It is a private school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that really gives you an opportunity to really meet the gente, you really meet the people here.
It is a different life from those that, and certainly coming down here to be in the tourist industry and then going into education was a big change, but it was a welcome one. Working with the people that actually live here in the community and being here during the time when it's not tourist season is beautiful as well.
So you're on Mexican wages, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously you're tight budgeting. Money's not flying in for you.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Just checking. All right. So during the day, you're doing the school, and during the evenings, you're here.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is your biggest challenge here?
Our biggest challenge here is just the natural environment that we have here in the bay. The changing of the tides. This is one of the last beaches here in the Boca de Tomates area that we're at that is not populated yet. It is one of the last places where you're not in front of a hotel or that sort of thing. So litter, And then as the tides come and go, camp's been washed out. This is the third time in 4 years. So you have big dreams of something permanent, and the reality is you have to be a little flexible and a little mobile.
Got it. Yeah, you got to be able to move with the tide.
Correct.
Interesting. So you have this turtle release program. You've got all of these turtles that get released.
Mm-hmm.
And these giant sea turtles are prolific, right? They make a lot of eggs.
Yes.
You're going to explain that not a lot of them make it.
Right.
But how come you don't see more giant sea turtles?
Our oceans are huge. Our oceans are huge and vast. And I think that was a concept even to me that I didn't realize until I was actually out here working at the camp.
Yeah.
It is a huge ocean. They are seen down in the Oaxaca area, and our seasons have changed a little bit. Seems like we're about a month off. We get warm about a month later, and then we stay a little bit longer. But in Oaxaca and along some of the actual coast, we're in the bay, but along the coast areas, they will see them come up en masse. By the hundreds, sometimes by the thousands. And the danger of that is then they dig up each other's nests.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So even though they're laid in the protected, and yes, they're in a good habitat, and there's not a lot of humans there, but we still need people that are going to collect the eggs and make sure that then we don't dig them up and do more damage, because they do come by the thousands.
Right. And evidently they have a similar kind of program going on in Oaxaca?
Yes, they do. There are several other places along the coast. Sometimes they'll only stay open for a few months during the high season. We're just fortunate enough here in Puerto Vallarta that we can do it year-round. There's nothing that prevents us from being here.
So your volunteers come from the community? They come from where?
Some come from the community. Some people come from many different countries. We had some from Spain last year that came through college programs. They can come here and work their service time. Some of the local colleges here, Guadalajara University, some have come from Mexico City, and then we can sign off on their service projects.
Okay.
So they spend their time, put in their hours here with us, and that can go anything from cleaning the beaches, helping with the incubation, building the camp, and everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's go away from Turtle Camp for a minute, and let's talk about Puerto Vallarta, because now you're a local.
Yeah.
And I ask people like what their favorite lunch and breakfast and dinner places are. So before I ask you about the breakfast, do you have like a favorite fonda, like a little hidden place that you like?
I have an incredible place, and it's actually just down behind us here at the beach. The restaurant's at Boca de Tomates. There's a few of the racameras down there. They are not visited by many tourist type people because it's very remote.
Yeah.
So the restrooms don't have running water, so you can't be shy about taking in your own bucket of water and flushing. There's trampolines out there for the kids, and it's very, very joyful. Just allow yourself enough time to not be in a hurry, truly be on Mexican time when you go down there. But that's my favorite lunch or dinner
Just
spot
head
down
on
there.
down there. It doesn't
Yes.
even matter which one. They
Nope.
all have the great
Yes.
stuff.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. How about dinner?
Dinner, I like to go to Victor's in the marina. Victor's Cafe. They are open year round. So for me, and as being a local here, it's important during the season in July, in August, and September, and October to have a place to go, a place that's still open. And so they are a wonderful family operation. And in fact, I found out last week I've been teaching one of their nieces for the last year and a half at my school.
Oh, cool.
So it's an incredible opportunity. And Puerto Vallarta is a very small town.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about. Well, I always ask my guests to tell us where they would go if they were leaving town for a day and going to come back.
For just a day trip?
Yep.
Well, I would go to Turtle World in San Pancho.
Turtle World.
Frank has released over 1 million baby sea turtles in his tenure with the turtle recovery and conservation here. And he has a fabulous place up there in San Pancho. They've had some real problems this year with hotels building right on their beaches.
Oh, really?
And visually, baby sea turtles and mother sea turtles hatching up against the barrier walls that they've built, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So they have had some some real problems in money over nature, and there especially. But Frank is an incredible human being. They've got a great group of people down there whenever we have called to have them come and help us. So it's not quite Sayulita on steroids. Same type of feel, but not as many people.
Yeah. Nice, beautiful beach.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful beach.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about a 3-day trip? Where would you go? Don't tell me you're going to go to a turtle camp in Oaxaca, because I'm going to reach across and get you. Is there a turtle camp in Mito?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
There is one in Mito as well. Right. A 3-day trip. I would probably go to Guadalajara. I love roller coasters. So I do, in my move to Mexico, miss theme parks. I have to confess, I'm a Disneyland addiction addict. I love visionaries, I guess, Walt Disney, who didn't want to create a better place. Right. So, yeah. So I would probably go, and I would like to take my kids and go spend the day and see what they have to offer. I hear they have a beautiful botanical gardens and zoo there as well.
Neat.
I don't love to see animals that are kept captive, but I do enjoy seeing places that do it right.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that they do it right.
Oh, okay.
So I have that hope.
So you need to go and check it out.
You have to go
and
check
if
it
they're
out.
not doing it right, that'll be your last time.
That'll be my last time. It will
right
be.
off of your list, just like that.
Yeah, it truly would.
If you had a word of advice for a first-time visitor to Puerto Vallarta, other than coming to Turtle Camp, of course, what would it be?
Don't miss the sunset. Don't miss the sunset. They are the most incredible, mesmerizing things here. So that would be my one thing, is just don't try to plan your time around too much, but try to not miss the sunset and try to not miss the sunrise. We have some incredibly beautiful skies here.
Fantastic. All right, let's go back to the camp.
Okay.
You say that you have people coming back here. They come during the night to make sure that, to check to see if any mama turtles have come up and laid eggs and stuff like that.
Right.
What's that schedule like?
They leave here. We give it about an hour or two after the sun goes down, because that's typically the mothers come mostly at night. That is normal. We're just available if something happens and nature goes off kilter a little bit. We like to be here for them. But the trolls wait. Then they make decisions based on the tide pattern and our access. Sometimes we don't have access all the way down to the river. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the water doesn't allow us, and we don't want to get trapped down there and not be able to get back.
Right.
Or if there are events that are going on down at some of the major hotels, be it the Marriott, Velas Vallarta, or the Malia, if they're shooting off fireworks, we're not going to go that way. Chances are the mother turtles are not going to approach the shore anyway. Right. So truly, and the most difficult thing is we have no predictions. We are a day by day. Nothing is standard.
It's nature.
It's always...
You can't rush nature. It's going to do what it does.
It does what it does.
Yeah, you said you have some great help from Velas Vallarta.
Yes.
What do they do for you?
Velas Vallarta has sponsored camp for several years that I know of. They have provided meals for our volunteers when they come here and stay at camp. They allow us to use their employee shower area so that our volunteers can get a hot shower. During the summer months, you don't mind dumping a bucket over your head here at camp, but sometimes during this time, it's nice to be able to do that. If something happens and we need to charge any of our cell phones, or we have any problems with our batteries, we can go down there and also use their facilities. They always just seem to have our back.
Yeah.
They have donated signs for our camp. Sadly, that is one thing that doesn't stay here. A lot of people ask if we would have a sign simply pointing the way from either direction. They last less than 24 hours. They're destroyed or stolen.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, you can't do much about that, can you?
Can't.
You know, if they weren't so pretty, people wouldn't take them.
Maybe that's the case.
You got to talk to them about that. Just make it ugly.
Yeah.
Any other big contributors to your cause?
We do have AC Red Tortuguera that's out of Punta de Mita. There is a southern, kind of a Baja group of turtle camps that will be get together here in just a few weeks in Mazatlan. And that will be Frank from San Pancho. That will be a turtle camp out of Guayabitos. Vincente Peña helps us out with our quad needs, and they also sponsor and help us get volunteers here. people that contact, because we are very small. With just two of us, there's not a lot of answering back. It's hard for us to contact colleges and let people know that you're here. So Vincente and Catherine Hart help us out quite a bit. And they work with all species of turtles. We're just mainly the olive Ridley here. They're involved all over Mexico.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
How do people find you? You're on the web. Yes, you got a web page. What do you got?
It's almost old school. A lot of it is by word of mouth. And then we have our Facebook page. We don't have a fancy web page. Sometimes, well, we didn't have a computer until a couple of years ago out here at camp. And a lot of it is just mainly time. When we're filling sandbags and doing things to save turtles, sometimes our human visitors have to take a back seat to what it is that we need to do to protect the sea life.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Facebook is truly our only way of finding us at this time. A few publications have advertisements or have a place in the paper, I think the PV Mirror and a few more, to contact us here at Camp or to follow our Facebook page. So that helps.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, I'll have a link to the Facebook page in the show notes for this episode.
Wonderful.
And of course, I'll have a map that shows that'll show you where Turtle Camp is now. It might move. But don't be discouraged. You know, if a taxi driver drops you off and you don't see Turtle Camp, it's because they can't get to where you are here. So it's important to remember that if you're looking for Turtle Camp, when the taxi drops you off, ask someone who's cooking on the beach, and they'll point down, and they'll actually show you where it is. So, actually, you can get from both sides here. I don't know. What's down there? What's on the other side?
Down this way is actually Boca Negra, and it goes down the golf course. They're back behind Bayview Grand.
Okay. All right.
That would come back through Plaza Marina.
Okay. Good. Yeah, you see any crocodiles coming through your camp?
Almost every day.
Right on.
Yeah. Love them. They are actually majestic and more endangered than the sea turtle.
Yeah. So you guys want to see some crocodiles, maybe make your way down here. I would love to see one.
Yeah.
All right. If somebody wanted to donate and couldn't come down here, how do they do that?
They could contact camp directly through messaging. They can message either Antonio or myself. Sadly, when we've put out our information before, it's gotten hacked. Electronically has not been fair, or I shouldn't say not been fair. It has not been a friend of ours.
It's not been nice.
Yes. So sadly, there are not some people out there are not nice, and we are a very small organization, so we're probably kind of a target for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But just contact us through messaging on the Facebook page, either Antonio or myself, and we can help you out with that.
Excellent. Okay, good. So just remember that. And once again, I will have the links to all of that in the show notes. I'm also going to have pictures of all the cool things that we're going to be doing and releasing. How many turtles are we releasing tonight?
Tonight, 74.
74. God, I can hardly count that high. Well, I just have to thank you for coming on the show and inviting me down here, and I can't wait to release some of these little guys.
Great.
And just thanks for what you do. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So after we talked, the people started arriving, and, they were just kind of walking up the beach. They were arriving from both sides, from the north and from the south. And there were about 30 of us, and we all gathered around, and Nan began to tell the story about Turtle Camp. And, it's a story that she probably tells every day. Her story about these giant sea turtles, about their quest to save them, and their quest to promote and protect them, and to pass along their positive energy, their ecologically minded philosophy. So while we listen to Nan, when you hear her talking and giving her talk, you might hear some Spanish-speaking tourists who are having a talk translated to them. So this was a bilingual situation here. And as I said, there were about 30 of us. You're going to hear the occasional airplane overhead, and you will hear her handing out these baby sea turtles as we talk, and she's going to explain some of the procedure, some of the history, and so forth. And when you will hear her, she'll be loading these little plastic bowls with little sand on the bottom, and then the baby sea turtle goes to each person. And there's a line that is drawn in the sand, and actually 2 lines are drawn in the sand. They're drawn parallel to the waves, and at some point she asks us all to step up there, and that's where we release the turtles and watch them as they make their way into the surf. It's pretty cool. It was really actually a beautiful, beautiful thing, because the sun was setting right in front of you, and these little turtles were padding their way towards the surf. It was kind of an emotional experience anyway. So close your eyes now, unless, of course, you're driving, and just listen and join in on the experience over at Turtle Camp.
So we will get started. We have 72 babies tonight, so everybody will be assured. Actually, how many did we get? 2 more. So we have 74 babies tonight that we'll be letting go. Before we get started, or as we get started, as more people make their way down the beach, we never know how many are going to show up. But have a name and a wish ready for each one of these as they go out. Assuredly, these would have been in the population that would have not have survived today. So I'm going to go get some buckets. We're going to fill those up with sand and get ready. And when the rest of these folks get down, we'll gather around and talk about them a little bit, okay? All right, great. Hey, Carlos, we have 72. So our camp begins at the baby branch. So if you walked in this way, it's the first big condo complex that we have here, down along this beach to where the River Ameca comes in. That is our patrol area, our permitted area for the conservation and protection of the olive Ridley tortuga and or her eggs and or her precious babies that y'all are going to meet here in just a minute. High season for turtle laying is June until December. And then it's just low season, my friends. It's nature. There's never a time of the year that somebody doesn't want to do a little something. But high season, these guys are reptiles, June to December. As that sun begins to set here in the bay tonight, there may be mother turtles out there that are going to come back to these very beaches tonight to lay their eggs. Did you see any mamas last night?
Yes, 2.
You saw 2?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many nests recovered?
2.
2. So 2 mamas and 2 nests. They had the privilege of seeing both the moms. The mother turtles come up out of the bay, very reptilian brain, not a lot of thought process. They're not looking for the best real estate. They're only on the land for maybe an hour and 15 minutes. She comes up into the more protected areas as much as reptilian brain will allow her to. She digs down with her back flippers and incredible dexterity about 2.5 feet deep. At the bottom, she bowls out an area where she lays between 80 to 120 golf ball or ping pong size ball eggs. Laid a tinier one in there. I'm going to show you a little teeny tiny baby turtle here tonight, smallest one I've ever seen in 4 years here at camp. She covers the nest back up and back out to the bay. She doesn't wander around. There's nothing else to do here, and she's tired. If on our patrols the team sees the tracks coming up, we go look, see if we can see the miracle happen ourselves. Once the mother is in a trance and actively laying those eggs, we can approach her. We can take measurements. We can see if there might be anything that's identifying something that's familiar to us. The head of the turtle out here, flippers out here. This one is probably late teen or mid-20s in age. I'll give you just an idea. She goes back out to that bay, and she's not waiting on babies. And tonight, these babies are not waiting on anything like a mom. It's not their process. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. The Bay of Banderas is incredibly protected, and that's why they come back here. Female sea turtles that are released from these beaches, the smell of the sand, the direction of when the sun is going to go down, the sound of these waves will bring them right back here. Does anybody live here in Puerto Vallarta or come back frequently? Anybody see the different beaches? They all have a little bit of a different sand consistency. Every one of them is a little bit different. The turtles remember. During high season, we have a little nursery at Bay Vallarta. Those babies that are left in there will just be released. The incubation area is not hospitable to sea turtle at this time. Down at the end is the Marriott. They have a shorter beach area, a higher concentration of sea turtles that came in because we took that beautiful area and made a marina out of it. Sea turtles don't go swimming around looking for a lot of other areas. They'll either bump down or they'll go drop their eggs back out into the bay. Home is gone. Home is gone. Across our bay over to Hilton and down into Cinco de Diciembre, there is another beach, Gold Beach, and that is protected and monitored by a group here in Mexico. One of the CONALEP, one of the associations that work there. They also will just be doing releases at this time. Here we have camp manager Antonio. He happens to be off the sand tonight getting some work done on our quad. Has been out here for 10 years. We work 365 days a year, not taking any time off. High season, low season, never a no season. So the 2 turtles that we rescued last night, another couple of hundred eggs gives opportunity. Without some sort of human intervention, only 1 in 1,000 baby sea turtles make it to their life expectancy of 80. With human intervention, they think it's about 1 in 100. Those nests are brought back here after the mom's gone to the bay and put in incubation behind me in our pen. It's protected from raccoons, animals, and man. Raccoons love baby fresh sea turtle eggs when they're laid, so it's a race to get to them. They're also poached by humans. They sell on the black market for $8 to $15 US. It's good money here in Mexico. So we have to change that mindset. We try and have all the school kids come out and educate them. They get to name a baby sea turtle. Maybe that'll put them more into the field of biology or being a naturalist than it will be to making that quick buck and hawking a sea turtle egg. This is the first year in 4 years that we have had no reports of people selling eggs. So word is getting out and people are doing great things. And I want us to all remember that. And everybody stay on the positive side. We're not waiting till 2020 to get rid of plastic. We're doing that incredible work here today. And I'm super proud of all the humans that are taking part in that. 45 days is our usual incubation time during high season. Now we'll let the nests go sometimes up to 70 days before we'll go in and take a look. We don't want maggots or anything to get into where it would harm any of the neighboring nests. During high season, we incubate above ground in coolers. Each one is marked again, the day we found the nest, the day we had to expect it to hatch, and how many eggs are in each one. We released 77,000 babies from our little camp here last year. Pretty good. If anybody's ever been out here before, we used to have our nursery out in front of our cabin. About 2 months ago, we had some really high waves. We had some threats of the storms. Not really a drop of rain and no wind, but the sand that came up buried our cabin down about 2 feet. The tide went way back underneath and behind our pen, so it was not possible. Some storms bring sand, some take sand away. Also a reason to incubate as many eggs as we can in protected areas to not lose them for environmental reasons. The yellow Ridley sea turtle is omnivorous, so they eat anything smaller than them. Turnaround is what eats them, anything bigger than them. But we're increasing their odds, the area that we're going to take them back, and once we're watching, making sure the frigate birds are gone, anything that can dive into the water is their predator. So any babies that hatch today during the day are the ones that we're going to be welcoming and showing you tonight. Any more babies that hatch tonight as the night goes on are going to be released by our patrol teams tonight. And they'll take these babies and repopulate our beaches. We also will not do any more releases here in front of our camp. This will be the only one. We don't want to create a feeding ground out in our bay either. Trying to make sure and thinking forward. I'm going to bring the baby sea turtles out for you to meet in just a minute. Each one of them has a fingerprint just like you and I do. I am going to ask that you have a special name and a wish for each one of your baby sea turtles as they go out tonight. Sea turtles can't crawl up and protect themselves. You're a big human. So we want to imprint them as little as possible tonight. I am going to ask that if you accept one of the plastic cups from us tonight as part of participation, that you put your hands in the sand. Something that I did not think about before is it's not just going on the sea turtle, but also our exposure to the bay. So if you are a sun lover and you come here to our beaches, please wash that off before you go. It's fine with the pool. They have a filter system. But all those chemicals that we're all wearing to protect ourselves are killing our sea life. They say after 2050 we won't be eating out of our oceans anymore. I don't see that we have very many littles out here, a couple. I want us to have sea life for them to be able to see. Keep in mind, my friends, 90% of the world's pollution in the ocean is from 10 rivers. 8 of those are in Asia and 2 of those are in Africa. Above you is what you see the frigate birds for 150 million years. This has been natural feeding time. So we are keeping our eye on those as they go down and make their way beyond the sunset. They won't be able to see the babies. I'm going to bring them out here in just a second. Does anybody have any questions? No, just bring me the baby sea turtle. Go on and stand up over the shoulder. So we have 74 of these little guys that are going out here tonight. They just hatched today. When they come up out of the sand, they have their cute little belly button. That's his little umbilicus. So it was the last little bit to roll off of his tummy this morning. We need to make sure that all that's off because when he's out swimming around, you don't want that little bit of dangly to become fishing bait. So that has a food sack for about 24 hours. And tonight when they hit that water, they're going to swim, getting out offshore. Hopefully hiding until they're about 8-10 years old. The females will come right back here. All sea turtles are also born with a front claw about halfway down their front flipper. In the boys, this will become more pronounced. Here it comes, my friends. When sea turtles are mating, they're attached 24 to 72 hours, which is part of why their eggs are poached for virility, a natural Viagra. 24 hours to 72 is what they're attached, so that'll become bigger. Then the boy's tail is going to grow. That's going to wrap around up underneath it. It's not his business. His junk is underneath there, but he's got to hang on tight. It's a long time. Come on. 24, 72 hours. What's up with that? Sea turtles also cannot pull up into their shell and hide and protect themselves. So he's got little eyelets. They close kind of like shower doors. They're translucent so he can see through them to get to his areas and see his food. But when they do it, their dexterity in their fingers is just amazing. Those are truly webbed fingers. So when they're digging, these flippers, when they come together, they can just bowl that area around where they lay their eggs. It's incredible to watch. We've had baby sea turtles. You're going to go on a big swim. You like that?
Having a good time laying on its back, just flipping.
Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. You're laying in there too, all turned over.
What do they eat at this age?
Anything smaller than them. Planktons, just whatever little things that go by. Sadly, all animals at this point are and everything pretty much out of the sea that's been looked at. And trust me, I do no testing here. Everything that gets born here goes to the bay here. We don't put any trackers on them. They're very expensive. And they grow at such a rapid rate, they would simply fall off before we would have any kind of information that would be useful to us. So we leave them the heck alone. I think that we're doing a really good job here by the amounts that are going out.
No, these were all hatched today?
Yeah, and I posted late, guys. Wasn't it like 2:30?
Yes.
I was still at school, but I was just leaving school. I teach middle school English. This is my nighttime gig. I come out here, I was walking along these very beaches, and Antonio asked me to help him make a name and a wish. When he lost his entire camp, when the river Ameca flooded, it took everything to the bay, and I told him I would help him with a Facebook page and that we would help, that people were kind and people wanted to do things. How we do it here and how everything gets rebuilt, we have solar panels, we have marine batteries, we have all the proper stuff to make as little impact as we have to. If we have to move again because of a storm, so be it. Whatever is best for the baby sea turtles. So little by little, we get to meet folks from everywhere. It's an amazing adventure.
Sure is. So, are you able to tell if they're male or female when they're that size?
No, and it's temperature dependent. My guess is their weather has changed enough that these are boys.
No?
Why are some darker than others? Is there any reason or just
some of these actually hatched out of some of the coolers. They've been in incubation since the storms. They've been incubating a little bit longer. They were in the wet sand for longer, so as they dry up. Can you watch your flash, hon? Oh, sorry. Yeah, no flash. So the ones that were on the white, they've come out of the sand, and so the top part of it's kind of dry. And once a nest gets active, it's about 24 hours, and they truly lay right underneath the top of that sand for a little bit. It's a long climb up for them. About 10% of them come up and make it to the top, then there's a boil. The other part of the success here at camp is when a nest is active, we can keep going and checking it and no animals are getting into it and invading it. Whereas in nature, it would just be opened up and who knows what and who knows what else might fall in. Yeah. So we may go now a couple of nights and not see any baby turtle or see any mother turtles coming, but we will continue working. The nests that are in our nursery at this point, we have through the first week of March. It's incredible. It's really incredible. So, I'm going to go get the cups. I'm going to put a baby sea turtle in each one of them for you. Please, again, put your hands in the sand. Once you have your baby sea turtle, if you want to give it a pet on its back, you are welcome to. Please just don't pick them up. You're a big human. Yeah, I know. Staying alive. Oh, he's waving.
You trained them.
It's the funnest thing, I tell you. You play wonderful music out here and you get to come out here and see nature. I encourage any of you that live in Puerto Vallarta or make Puerto Vallarta your home a couple times, or if you come back during the season, bring your cooler out. Come have a sit. Be with Antonio. Pick up a bunch of trash while you're out here with us and become a turtle warrior. It doesn't have to be just for this time of day. Yeah? Cups. You meet your baby.
¿Quieres que la tome ahí?
And they're pretty active now. Yes, they are going to slow down a little bit. As we get out to the line, we'll wait for further instructions down there. We're keeping our eye on the birds. So, folks of kids, go ahead and take the... Actually, we don't have very many kids out here except for kids too. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Look at this guy. He's so cute on his back.
Chilling.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What are you gonna name it?
Go ahead, baby girl.
Babies. Babies.
I like the balloons. You don't want to put your hand? No. Allá ponte con tu hermano de tomate. Zora, doing a good job.
I'm passing them.
Couple minutes, we're going to count to 3, 1, 2, 3. At that time, all together, we'll come forward. We'll place your baby sea turtles out or beyond the line, and then step back to where you are. That way, nothing washes up underneath your feet. If a wave does come, it's only water. Please stand still for this, and we'll make sure that the baby sea turtles are safe. Okay? Okay. So, then we're watching the birds. Everybody, you ready? Everybody ready in. 1, 2, 3, all the way. Forward line. Baby sea turtles out. And get them out there on the sand bed, stepping back when they faded out. You're all going to put them out there a little further off the front. Yes. Go ahead and step back, boom. Look at, there he goes. In a few minutes, once your babies go to the sea, you'll be seeing their little heads pop up, giving you a fun goodbye. Look at him go, look at him go. joint efforts. This is how we do it. We're not fancy. We thank you all for coming very much from the bottom of our hearts. We hope to be here years and years after, taking care of your babies for generations to come. Thank you all very, very much for coming. Bravo, Aldi.
Okay. Could you feel what was going on there? It was really nice. It was a big surprise. I really liked this place. It wasn't, there wasn't a big production. I didn't even know what to expect. I didn't know if I had to bring money or if there was an admission fee. And of course, there was no admission fee. But of course, you should bring money because you'll really want to. They've got a great operation. It's a little operation, but these people, they have a huge message. And, unbelievable the amount of time and effort that they put in to saving the sea turtles. People like Nan, the volunteers that help her, amazing, just amazing. They had shirts for sale, they had jewelry, little remembrances, things like that, and they had a little cash donation area, as she was saying. And like I said, it wasn't a hard sell. You weren't pushed to do it. You just wanted to, and I certainly did. Anyway, I loved it. I loved the experience. I loved the approach. I loved the imagination, the energy, the spirit of these people, these volunteers. It was just a wonderful, wonderful evening. I mean, it was just so weird, strange to me. These people just came from nowhere. They wandered out to camp, from either side of the airport runway, In fact, most of the people actually came from the other side. They came from the south side of the runway, and that's actually where I left. Now, that particular road runs between the runway and the golf course. And I would suggest that as you leave and go that direction, go south and go to that road, because I think it's a little bit better lit, and it'll be easier for somebody like a taxi or an Uber to find you. Although I have to say that I summoned the Uber who couldn't find me at first, and it was probably a good thing that I could speak Spanish, because otherwise he probably would still be looking for me. I might still be standing out there. But the experience was great. Now, the way to find out whether or not she has turtles is to go to their Facebook page. Like I said, I'll have a link to that. But these people are doing an incredible, incredible job. So next time you're in Puerto Vallarta, make sure you go there. Help Nan save the turtles in Puerto Vallarta. And thank you, Nan. Thanks for all that you do. And thanks to all your volunteers. Thanks for helping, doing it every day. Unbelievable, unbelievable. If you're planning on going to Puerto Vallarta, and you're spending some time there, like she said, go down there and volunteer during the day. And if you want to maybe make it more than just an evening event, maybe spend a little more time there, go to one of those beachfront restaurants over at Boca de Tomates. Have something to eat, pick up a little trash, I don't know, watch the airplanes come and go. Maybe see a crocodile, right? But most of all, join Nan and her merry bunch of volunteers and help her release some of those baby sea turtles. It will be an experience that you will remember for a long, long, long time. And I've got lots of great pictures in the show notes, so check them out at PuertoVallartaTravelShow.com, as you know. All right, well, that should do it for this week's episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember that this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and your suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something I should be talking about, well, reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com, that's JR's website, and reserve your tour through him right from his website. Remember, this is a value for value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for you're making a purchase of a tour that you do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so really, just do it. And when you do, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. I have links to those all over my website. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes, if you would. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Remember, I made it easy for you to do just that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, you really need to have a look there. I have links to the places we talk about, interesting pictures, and more right there in the blog posts and in the show notes for each episode that I create. So check them out for sure, okay? All right. And thank you, Maddie and Jesse. Check out their new place in the center of El Tuito. I've got pictures on my website. And thank you so much, Nan Lippard from Turtle Camp PV. Listen, get out there, launch your own baby sea turtle into the Bahia de Banderas. Experience the love, the nature, the airplane noise. And donate. Donate some of your time, donate some of your money, donate to this fine cause. And hey, thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler, signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
De Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino, perno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río, cuando todo está en calma, pronto cae la noche, brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar, samba de Puerto Vallarta.